Okay, I am going to attempt to show you a fun little watercolor you can do at home using these 99-cent watercolors from Target and this bottle of white acrylic paint, which also came from Target. This bottle was $3.99, but I know they make smaller ones. They just didn't have any the day I bought that. So we need a Sharpie, a pencil, and I'm gonna use the paintbrush that comes with this. Since not everyone is gonna have easy access to fancy watercolor paints, we will see how well these fare. All right, so first we'll do a quick pencil sketch. Let's start with a circle-ish, kinda. And then we'll do some trees. Maybe the trees come a little higher over here. I am just kind of sketching out basic shapes right now. We'll put a tree that's higher up there. And we'll do some mountains. Actually, I'm probably going to bring those mountains a little lower. Just kind of make up your own little world, just like Bob Ross would have done. And then we'll come in with our Sharpie. I'm using a Sharpie because it's waterproof, so when I watercolor on top of it, it won't cause the ink to bleed. My Sharpie has seen better days. And I will probably go back over a couple of these with more Sharpie because we're doing a galaxy night sky here. We will do some more darker silhouette shapes. All right, I'll give the indication of some snow on these mountains. Just making it up as I go here. And let's put some more trees. You can make your trees look like anything that you'd like. It's always good composition to have your trees not quite go in a straight line, even though they sometimes do that in nature. Just makes for a little bit more interesting composition. I'll make the indication of some trees off in the distance. There we go. Come back with my pencil and erase that mountain. I decided not to do. Wanted my mountain lower so I have more space to do some sky. I am using watercolor paper for this because it's what I have. Regular paper will be okay, but not great, because as regular paper gets wet and you work a paintbrush into it, you can eventually put a hole in the paper, as my kids have learned the hard way. You can also have issues with, the paper will warp like crazy. So you can use a thicker paper, like a cardstock, or if you happen to have watercolor paper, that would be better. So let's use the brush that came with that. I have a cup of clean water here and a towel for in case things get a little too wet in the brush, which actually I don't think is going to be a problem with this. I'm going to take my little pots here, put a few drops of paint in each little pot. Let's See how well this paint holds up. Real cheap paints are not known for having the highest quality of pigment, but we're gonna see if we can make this work. Is that black or is that brown? Interesting. I think that's brown, and then this one must be black. All right, a couple of drops in each. And I'm gonna start with I'm gonna start with a little bit of green at the bottom. Let's get some trees going. And I'm not very stressed about staying within the lines. I'm gonna do what works. I've already lost a hair from my brush. That was quick. All right, now, obviously, the more water you have, the lighter your pigment will be because your pigment is diluted. Oh, there's a couple of bristles of hair in the paint pot already. All right. I'm going to switch over to this paintbrush, which is from the same set from Target, but this one doesn't seem to be losing bristles as quickly. Some more green. This is a very tealy aqua green, so I'm going to come in and add some yellow to that. Now yellow is like the one color. Wow, that's a very creamy yellow. I'm just going to mix it right on top to make a more natural looking green, and then clean my brush every time so that I'm not introducing green paint into my yellow pot here. I almost did it right there too. All right. Get that going. Oh, I totally just did it right there. Don't do what I did. I lucked out though. This yellow doesn't have a lot of pigment in it, so very interesting. Kind of disappointing. I will probably go in and add some of the orange that came with it. Maybe that would help a little. Let's see what this orange looks like. It looks brown. I'm pretty sure, yeah, that's an orange color. Let's do a little bit of watered down orange and see. Okay, that's kind of interesting. I'm gonna squish that around a little bit. Go in some more green. That is a very aqua green, so. All right, now I'm gonna leave that part alone and let it dry, and we can go over it again a little later. I'm gonna go do some work on the sky. Now on the sky, one of the things I wanna do is I really want it to look, I want the paint to move around a bit. So I'm gonna come over here with the brush and just put water on it. Careful not to mix in with the paint on that tree. Just kind of come to the edges here of the mountain. All right, now I'm gonna come and get some blue and just start tapping it around in different spots, and you can see how it moves because the paper is already wet. It's a very cool, very vibrant blue. Let's come in with some of the purple. Mix it right in there. Don't be afraid to squish them around. Let's come in with some of this red that's suspiciously pink. Put some of that in there too. Mix that up a little bit. That is moving pretty cool. Let's get some more purple over here. A little bit of blue up here. And then I will come back with black in a few spots. Just because it's still a night sky, it should be pretty dark. Let's do a little more pink. I mean red, whatever they want to call it. Just barely touching the brush to the paper. I don't want it to mix too much. I also don't want it to create too many puddles because that can affect. Now this is black. Gonna put black right here on the edges, and that black has a lot of green in it. Just gonna leave that there on the edges and let that dry, and then I'll come back to it later after this sky dries. I had a watercolor teacher in junior college tell me that the hardest part of watercolor is when to walk away from it and let it dry and stop messing with it. And I have to agree, sometimes that's the hardest part. Let's add some black to this spot right here. Pull it out to the edges. All right, now that sky, I'm gonna leave it alone. You can already see where, even though my paper is glued down on the edges, I can see a little line here where the paper has started to warp a little bit, which I think will work for the composition. So I'm gonna leave it alone, walk away from it, and let it dry.
So what color?
We are back. I have a clean cup of water, and it's mostly dry. There is a little dampness right there. So we're gonna go back, and because in this time that it dried, most of the water that was in here is dried, so we'll come back and add a couple drops of water to each color.
Hey, Mom.
Hey, what? Would you like, should we put snow on the mountain?
Snow, yes.
Yeah? Okay.
Yes. You know, because it's snowing outside.
No, it's not snowing.
It's not snowing.
But it snowed yesterday.
It snowed yesterday.
Yeah.
And it all snowed last night.
It did a little bit. Thankfully,
Oh.
most of it's melted, huh?
Yay.
Okay.
Now your egg thing.
So we have this dark brown color. Should we put that on some of the,
What?
let's go a little bit on the outside of the trees.
Why are you doing brown?
Well, we're gonna put some on the mountains, and we gotta figure out where we want snow to be.
Snow?
Let's put
So it could be like over here.
yeah,
Here.
we'll put a patch of snow there.
And also on the trees.
I'm not gonna put any snow on the trees today.
You gotta go to the bathroom.
Oh, okay. Have fun. Got some brown. Let's come back in with the green. And let's make some more green on our trees. It's okay if it mixes in with other colors. I'm sure you can totally hear the toilet flushing. Did you turn the light off? Some more green.
Is the dried part of the white?
Okay. The white is the paper that doesn't have any paint on it. So I'm gonna get some purple, and we're gonna put some purple in here where there would be snow. And I'm just putting a teeny bit.
So it's only gonna be.
Then I'm gonna wash my brush.
Dry it.
And then squish that around so it stays pretty light. Does that make sense, Matthew?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Is it gonna be a purple snow?
Well, it's in this world that I've created, yeah, sure. No, the snow is reflecting the light from the sky, huh? Does that make sense? Yeah?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm gonna come into some black. Let's put some black out here.
Mom.
And I'm just kind of squishing it around. Just kind of figuring out where I'm gonna have dark sky. Now this black, because it's 99-cent paint, doesn't have a ton of pigment. So I noticed that when it was drying, it dried a little lighter than it normally would. So we will just see what happens after this dries, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, now I have a clean brush that's a little wet.
You should
come and kind of squish that.
You should have put a little bit of the blue on the mountains.
Should I put blue on the mountain? I can do that.
Did a little bit already.
Yeah, well, I'm going to put some purple into the darker parts of the mountains because that's a color that really goes really well with mountains. See, mix that in there. Let's put some over there. Purple is a great shadow for mountains.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you think so?
Yeah.
Let's do a little more black. Bring that out here.
If you let this dry out, would it be really cool?
You think it'll be cool if I just leave it right now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because it already looks cool right now.
I want to do more stuff to it, but that's just me. All right, let's put some dark colors. I'm going to put a whole lot more green down here, and then I'm going to add black to it and purple.
Purple trees?
Are they purple though?
You can make your own world.
Let's do some black. That way we get this. See, look, it really isn't really green, is it? It's kind of a dark color, huh?
The only galaxy colors is dark.
Mm-hmm.
Real pretty much.
Yeah.
How did you make that like light dark pink?
This red here is kind of a dark pink.
Mm.
Yeah. Just coming around, adding some dark space, dark spots. And then I can come and add a little purple. Just because it's going to mix well. Nice natural colors. That black looks really cool in the sky, huh?
Mm-hmm.
Didn't that turn out good?
Mm-hmm. The black.
Funny bubble right there.
Yeah, black is actually pretty cool.
Does that look pretty cool?
Jake would probably like that.
Jake would like that? Your friend Jake?
Yeah, Jake.
Yeah. A little darker over there.
Why you put a little bit of orange there?
Because I wanted to see what the color looked like. It didn't look very orange when it was dried, and I thought it was brown. And I wondered why we had 2 browns and no red, but that red is kind of pink. So yeah, I don't know. Let's do some more brown. Now, my brown only has a little bit of water in it right now, so hopefully it will be pretty dark. Okay, maybe not that dark, but pretty dark. Adding more to this area.
Jake will like this because his favorite color is purple.
Yeah, Jake's favorite color is purple?
Dark
Purple. Okay, that's pretty cool.
And he also likes galaxy stuff.
Yeah. Is he a Star Wars fan?
Yeah, he only watched the first movie.
Oh, okay. Let's do a little more. All right, should we leave that alone? Let it dry?
No.
What else should I do then? I think I have to let it dry because if I try to put paint in other places, you know, I can put a little bit of blue in the snow.
Yeah.
Let's do that. A little bit of blue. Oh, that's so bright.
Oh, the blue.
Yeah, it is.
You should do like go.
Do a little bit of blue, like right there.
Like patches of snow.
Little patches, but I'm not gonna do.
Like a lot of patches.
I'm gonna clean my brush and squish that blue around so it gets lighter. There. Okay, now we're gonna leave it alone. All right, we will leave it alone. Come back after it's dried. Okay? Okay, now it's mostly dry. I think I'm good with paint. Oh, I got one little wet spot right there. Right there. I'm gonna come through and redo some lines. The paint faded some of the marker more than I thought it would. I'm gonna come through and add some dark lines, some shadow. And some dark spaces. Especially around the outside edge here. Just kind of do what you'd like, whatever you think looks good. No rhyme or reason to it, just kind of going in and adding some more darkness. Kind of, this is just going to be filler down here. Whatever you want to do. Maybe make the line around the outside a little thicker. So here, my line failed a little when a puddle was drying on top of it. One of these days I will figure out the right kind of markers to use that will actually stay put, not go anywhere when I try to paint on top of it. Usually I do the markers after I've done the painting. Or I do the marker on a separate sheet of paper over the top of my painting, and then I put them together on the computer. A lot of my watercolors, I usually do that. Okay, so now I'm going to use the tip to add some shadows to the mountain, and I'm just going to do little thin lines in the direction of where the mountain would conceivably be moving, the direction of the mountain. Kind of making this up as I go here. This would probably be better with a thinner marker, but this is the only one I have right now that's waterproof. Yeah. Spots that I want to be snow, I am not going to touch. Just leave them as the watercolor. There we go. I'm going to make some of these a little thicker so this looks like a line of trees that's like way off in the distance. Maybe. Not sure if that was achieved. All right, lid off. You really only need a little bit of paint. That's probably even more than I'm going to need. All right. Paintbrush. I am going to use the end of the paintbrush. Touch a little bit, see how big the dots are. We are just touching little tiny spots to make stars. The smaller the better, in my opinion. If you would like bigger stars, then go for it. Okay, apparently I have no toothpicks in my house right now, so I have a wooden skewer, like a big toothpick. But it should give me smaller stars. There we go. That's what I want. Little specks. Again, you do what you want to do. You pick your own colors. Just like Bob Ross, you do what you want in your world. I think that looks more like snow than stars. But hey, I'm figuring it out as I go as well. I think I need more tiny stars.